Go ahead and call the board meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge.
Friend and mentor to me, and so his funeral will be held on at noon on Saturday, and I'd like to ask that you join me in a moment of silence in his memory. Thank you. March is School Board Recognition Month in Missouri. I will be officially thanking our school board members later on this evening, but during my announcements, I want to extend my thanks to our Waynesville Board of Education members, Paul Schultz, President, Vice President Dr. Leroy Fulmer, Treasurer Charles Quinn, Secretary Janelle Rao, and members Dan Deering, Rick Harn, and Aaron Pondrum. Thank you for all you do for our community and for our students. The Spring Tiger Festival of Nations will be held from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. April 21st, 2023 at Waynesville High School. Guests may enjoy a free trip around the world Sample foods and get passports stamped. T-shirts will be available for sale, and I believe we have new T-shirts this year at Tiger Festival of Nations. They're really awesome, and we're excited to share those with you. Community Salute to Service will be held at 6 p.m. Wednesday, May 10th, 2023 at the Waynesville High School Gym. We will recognize South Central Missouri High School seniors who will be serving in the military, and we ask that everyone help pack the gym for this event to celebrate these awesome students. April is the month of the military child, and we invite everyone to tie a purple ribbon on their homes or businesses to join us in celebrating this month. Additionally, we invite everyone to wear purple on Purple Up Day, which is Wednesday, April 19th. We will also be lighting Central Office up purple this year, so something new we're going to try, but we're excited about that. Waynesville High School Theater and Thespian Troupe 1669 will present the spring play Clue at 7 p.m. on April 20, 21, 22, and at 2:30 p.m. on April 23rd. Cost is $6 for adults, $5 for staff and students. Vista Summer Associates positions are open for the summer. For more information, you may go to the AmeriCorps website or call 573-842-2250. And lastly, applications for Parker Preschool are now open. They opened at noon this morning and will continue to be accepted through 4 p.m. on April 13th. The link to the form and more details can be found on the Parker Educational Center's website. A random lottery drawing will again be held to fill the open positions this year. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve consent agenda items A through H?
So moved.
Second.
You gotta push the button there. All right,
Old school.
all in favor, raise your hands. Move the spotlight on education. Dr.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Peace, and I'm a special education teacher at Waynesville High School. And I'm here tonight to talk about Mrs. Teresa Meyer. She is receiving the spotlight on the classified employee. Mrs. Teresa Meyer has worked in the Waynesville School District for over 30 years as a paraprofessional, and her commitment has never wavered. She has worked in numerous buildings and in a variety of positions. It is difficult to express how much she is appreciated by all that know her, and I've had the pleasure of working with her for the past 7 years in the WHS Special Education CSS program. Mrs. Meyer loves what she does. She is compassionate and patient with all of our students, while also setting high expectations and holding them accountable. Tiger Joe, our high school coffee shop, is part of the CSS program, and Mrs. Meyer is an integral part of its success. She comes in before 6 o'clock most every morning to prepare the shop for its daily business. She works through lunch to assist students within the program, as well as serving the student body who enjoys coming down for specialty drinks and quick snacks. Mrs. Meyer does this all without ever complaining, because that's just the type of person that she is. She is the definition of a hard worker who always puts what's best for others before herself. I couldn't ask for a better partner, and anyone who works with her would agree that she is a team player who is always there to step up and offer support in any way that she can. This is for Ms. Meyer.
All right, good evening. I'm Mr. Snicker, assistant principal at the high school. I'm here to recognize the certified staff board spotlight member for the high school, and that's Mr. Samuel Hall. Mr. Hall oversees our Missouri Options program and is a member of our high school TAC team. Very professional, respectful in everything he does with his students, parents, co-workers, administrators, and community members. He is a very valuable member of the high school and works to build quick connections and relationships with his students who are very at risk. Mr. Hall realizes that this is the last opportunity for most of these students to still have an opportunity and be able to attend the Waynesville High School graduation as a graduating member. He pushes his students to strive to do better and have a chance for a better life. Mr. Hall works with his students on lessons to ensure they are prepared for the HiSET exam. He tracks and works with them to set goals and aim to achieve success. He does a great job of rewarding and recognizing his students by celebrating their successes. And he works with his students on job applications, job interviews, tracking their work hours, and preparing them for opportunities after high school. This year alone, Mr. Hall has helped ensure 19 at-risk students will graduate and have the opportunity after high school. He also has a few more months left to get a few more that we think we may get. So congratulations to Mr. Hall, and thank you for all you do for our students, school, and our community.
Probably should have stayed down there, I apologize. So it's my pleasure to highlight our collaborative team. This year, our highlight's going to be on our special education department as a whole. Our special education department comprises 13 teachers, 11 paraprofessionals, 2 process coordinators, and an administrative assistant. Ranging from specialized instruction classrooms to co-taught classrooms, our staff services about 231 students daily. This department advocates for students to make sure they receive the accommodation each individual student deserves. Our staff writes individual education plans for each student and works with other staff members to make sure they are treated in a way that helps them individually learn. Whether it is students bringing Tiger Joe around to the school in the morning or working in a co-taught Algebra 2 classroom, our staff makes sure that students are always supported and helped in each person's own way. Please join me in congratulating our special education staff as a collaborative team spotlight. And everybody needs to stand up, take a picture, please.
Third quarter project teach, Dr. Goforth.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Mike Freeman from Ed Morris Ford St. Robert is here tonight to present this quarter's $100 award.
Mrs. Daly? There she is. Thank you, Dr. Goforth. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present this award tonight. This evening, we're going to be recognizing Miss Nikki Daly as your third quarter Teacher of the Quarter. And Miss Daly had a project. She worked with Freedom Elementary, and character autopsies allow students to participate in an unforgettable learning experience which will increase their mastery of Missouri's learning standards. She takes a surgical approach to this, literally with the students, involving even surgical gloves, gowns, and caps. The real McCoy teaching these students, and where they dig deep into the characters of the students to help them improve their vision. And last year, this activity was a great success, with 82% of their students reaching proficiency in this standard. This project empowers our students to be lifelong learners and dig into college and career readiness through rigorous collaboration. And I understand this is a third grade class. Am I correct on that? Third grade class teaching our kids for college careers. I would like to read something to you tonight, if I may, that has to do with teachers and what it really means to be as a teacher. My daughter is a special education teacher also for the Lebanon School District. And so she daily sees the challenges that kids face and what teachers, when you walk in their shoes, many of you are administrators here tonight and have been teachers before. Some of us school board members have never served in a classroom whatsoever. I'm not a teacher, and you don't want me to be a teacher. It is not my gift by any means. But she sent this to me and from a teacher's perspective, and the author is unknown. It's not from her particularly, but the author is unknown. It states, 6 years ago, I considered going back to school to get a certificate in elementary education. I thought teaching would be a pretty sweet gig, with summers off, to spend time with my own kids. I got a job working as a substitute teacher in our district with kids in grades K through 8. Figured I should test the waters a bit. And boy, am I glad I did, because those waters are deep. And they're rough. And you pretty much need to be an Olympic swimmer to remain there, which I quickly realized I was not. I am patient, I am kind, I adore children, but I am not a superhero. And quite frankly, that is what it takes to be a teacher in today's environment. It takes knowing exactly the right way to help a child who struggles desperately in math without destroying their self-esteem. It takes knowing exactly what to do when the tough kid walks into your classroom with tears in his eyes because his dog passed away the night before. It takes maintaining your composure when 27 children at 27 different reading levels with 27 different personalities are all vying for your attention at the same time. It takes having a strong stomach because you'll be dealing with puke, you'll be dealing with blood and boogers. So many boogers and all kinds of gross things. It takes knowing how to discipline without causing embarrassment. It takes being able to handle a constant level of noise that would make most people's heads spin. It takes being able to handle your heart breaking when you see an innocent child hurting from a difficult family situation that you are powerless to change. It takes being able to appear confident when you have no idea what the answer really is. And it takes knowing exactly when and how to intervene when you see a child being ostracized by their peers. It takes being able to maintain a straight face when a child says something inappropriate, but it's hilarious. It takes nerves of steel when you hear that emergency alarm go off, knowing that you alone are responsible for the safety of all of those children in your classroom. It takes being able to go home with enough energy for your own children after an exhausting day of wrangling a classroom full of other people's kids. You say it takes giving it your all for the short time that they are yours, knowing that what you say, what you do, and what you model may have an impact on that child for the rest of their life. You see, because I bet every single one of us in this room today can name our second grade teacher. And to this day, a few times a month, I stroll through the school entrance to sub a class or two, unburdened by lesson plans, test scores, emails from angry parents. I do my best to fill their shoes for a few hours, and I am humbled by the task because those teachers, their cars are already in the parking lot when I arrive in the morning and remain in that parking lot long after I leave for the day. And I see them taking work home at night, on the weekends, and over spring breaks. Like I said, they're superheroes. So today, ladies and gentlemen, if you get a minute, thank a teacher for caring about our kids, for shaping the future generations, for doing what most of us cannot. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're recognizing your third quarter Teacher of the Quarter. And we have a check to the school district for $100 to help her buy more caps and gloves to make a difference in our third grade students. So join me in recognizing Ms. Nikki Daly as your third quarter Teacher of the Quarter.
Thank you, Mike. Transportation Employee of the Month, Mr. Tronstad.
So this evening, I'm going to be recognizing our March Employee of the Month. I go through quite a list trying to narrow down who it's going to be. This evening, the March Employee of the Month will be Alicia Perrier. When I was preparing for tonight and thinking of what to say, first thing that come to mind was you can't always judge a book by its cover. Sometimes I think being young can be associated with inexperience. I'm here to say that this is not the case with Alicia. She has the mindset of someone with so much more time behind the wheel. She reacts to negative situations on her route with one thing in mind, her student safety. I have witnessed her react to incidents on the bus that makes it look effortless. All I can say is she has a gift, and I am thankful Alicia has chosen transportation to use this gift to make a difference in the lives of our students. Congratulations, Alicia.
And community recognition, Dr. Goforth.
Thank you, Mr. President. This month, the district would like to recognize Brittany Rains and others who are here in support for the Fort Wood Community Spouses Club for their continued support of Waynesville schools through their many scholarship opportunities and their continued support with posting our vacancy announcements.
School board recognition, Mrs. Bills.
Thank you, Mr. President. Missourians benefit every day from the dedicated energies and countless hours devoted by a group of more than 3,600 men and women from communities across the state. These public servants are elected by local constituents and do not receive compensation for their tireless efforts. They are the local school board members of Missouri. During the month of March, communities across the state will honor the dedicated service of their local boards of education during School Board Recognition Month. The goal is to build awareness and understanding of the important function an elected board of education plays in communities and schools. All Missouri citizens are asked to recognize the important contributions of these men and women and focus attention on the vital role these public officials play in the education of Missouri's children. I would just like to take a moment to recognize our school board and appreciate them for all of their work. I will say they are the best in the state of Missouri, and I'm sure you all would agree with that, yes? And so please accept the gifts from the schools as just a little token of our appreciation. And with that, I'll call each of you up here to receive your certificate from MSBA. Paul D. Schultz II. Dr. Leroy Fulmer. Charles Quinn. Janelle Rao. Dan Deering. Rick Harn. And last but certainly not least, Aaron Pondrum.
I want to say it's an honor to serve with this Board of Education. I truly mean this. Each and every one of these people have the utmost respect for this district, and I appreciate them all very much, along with our superintendents and everybody out there. But thank you all for the gifts. I'm going to have to have Officer Murphy watch mine because this guy's already trying to steal stuff. I will. So, anyhow, thank you all very much. And construction update, Dr. Cobb.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right, this first picture as you're coming into the entrance of Fema shelter at Freedom, you can see is that they're working on the roof, and as this picture was taken, they were in the process of getting it done, and it has been finished up. This picture was taken about 2 weeks ago, so they did finish up the roof on the Fema shelter. As you're coming in, this will be the entrance, is what the community will walk into, where the security entrance will be, where they can get in to access the Fema shelter and the gym. Additionally, to the right side, you can kind of see where that's the connection that comes into Fema, or to Freedom, where they will be able to access it from the interior of the building. This first picture is what you're looking at when you first walk into the building. As you can see down the far end, you've got an office This to the far right, and then you come into, you've got storage, and then you have restrooms. And then above is where there's additional storage, that there will be some doors will put there, we'll have additional storage to be able to get a lift and put up there for additional storage for Freedom as well as the PE department. These last couple pictures are just different variations of what it looks like from inside the FEMA. This again would just be as you're walking in from the community, as you're looking straight forward. That's the upper corner of the gym area, as well as this would be from down by the restrooms and storage area. You're looking up, you can kind of see that entrance to the far right up there is where you would enter to come into. As you can see, they're making great progress. A lot of things have changed already since these pictures are done. Like I said, the roof, windows, and doors are being put in as well. So, if there's any additional questions that you have.
Thank you, Dr. Cobb. Professional Development Handbook, Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. The 2023-2024 Professional Development Handbook is presented as a first reading and will be brought for approval at our April board meeting. We are required to have this approved every year. Really, the main change on it is the date on the cover of it, and then there were a couple little formatting issues throughout the document, but we will bring it next month for approval.
Thank you, Dr. Atkins. MSBA Policy and Procedures Update, Mrs. Bells.
Thank you, Mr. President. Attached for the board's review and consideration are the following policy and procedure updates, which have been run through the TABS committee. Any comments or suggestions will be accepted between now and the April meeting, when they will be resubmitted for board action and adoption. The policies are BDDB, agendas, BDDH, public participation at board meetings, IGCD, virtual courses, IGCDA, full-time MOCAP virtual courses, JECA-2, eligibility to enroll, and the procedure is IGCD AP1, MOCAP virtual courses.
22 Annual Performance Report, Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight I'm going to present our 2022 Annual Performance Report. It has been a while since we have had one of these. 2018 was our last performance report. We had went through some changes in testing, and we were transitioning from MSIP 5 to MSIP 6, and so we did not have one for 2019, and then COVID hit, and so we did not have one for 2020, and then we went into the full transition. So this is our first one since then. And I can't see it from here. Okay. MSIP 5 and MSIP 6 are very different from each other. MSIP 5 assessed a completely different set of standards, and so when we look at the scoring between 2018 and 2022, you will see that in 2020, are you gonna bring that? Sorry, I did not account for, I wouldn't be able to see that from here. Thank you. Thank you much. Okay, so in 2018, 320 districts scored 95% of points on MSIP 5, and now as we've moved into MSIP 6, which again measures things a little bit differently, 3 districts were at that level. In 2018, there were 9 districts that scored below 70% of points, and this year there were 163. Does that mean that there's a vast change in how districts are performing? Not necessarily. It's just a different metric in how they're scored. And really, this new system has a large focus on growing students. And then I will touch on how that impact looks as I get to the next slide. This is MAP Performance Index, and these are scores that are used to determine how you perform, how your status is, how your overall scoring goes. In the old system, if students were below basic, they counted for 1 point. If they were basic, they counted for 3 points. If they were proficient, they counted for 4 points. And if they were And if they were advanced, they counted at 5 points. In this new system, if a student is below basic, they can score 1 to 2.9 points. So really that focuses on growing individual students. You will see that on this slide for English language arts, when it comes to status, we earned full points as a district for status. We were in that target range. And you can see our individual schools were all either in the on track or at target on this metric. As we look at the next slide, which is math, as a district, we were in the on-track range in math, and we did identify some areas that were in that approaching range, but we knew that before we had the APR, and we're already putting measures in place to address student performance in that area. The MPI score is, again, what leads to our overall score on the annual performance report in the achievement area. So in academic achievement for status, meaning your overall scores, we earned full points in ELA and social studies and earned 75% of points in math and science. This is where MSIP 5 and MSIP 6 differ greatly. In MSIP 5, there was one score for academic achievement in each of the content areas and for the student groups. But if you hit the status mark, it didn't matter if you were growing students. So if your overall scores were high, but you weren't growing individual students, you wouldn't necessarily see that in the scores. Additionally, if your overall achievement was low, you could add your growth to that to bump it up to a higher level. So they would put those scores together. Now those are looked at completely separately. So we have academic achievement status. Again, that's overall scores based on those MPIs. And then the growth scores for English and math is really about the growth that individual students make. In ELA, we were above average overall in student growth, and we were below average in math. Success Ready students, that looks at college and career readiness assessments, ACT, SAT, ASVAB, work keys, and we earned 50% of points in that. And all of our students were tested. It's working with those senior students on increasing those scores. As far as advanced credit, that's advanced placement, dual credit, those sort of advanced classes, we did earn all points in that area, and we earned all points in graduation rate. Graduate follow-up looks at where students are 180 days after they graduate. While we were able to follow up with all of our students, some were not meeting the expectations set out for this scoring area, and so we earned 75% of points. Again, these scores these performance scores are really about the work that happens in our classrooms every day and represents our student learning. On this next slide, these are the areas that are new. The old system was all about performance. This one, we do earn points for our comprehensive school improvement plan. We didn't earn full points for that, and so we have 30 points on that. We earned full points for our climate and culture surveys. These are our parent surveys, staff surveys, student surveys. Success Ready students, this is where we start to look at things that happen in other grade levels. Kindergarten entry assessment, we assess kindergartners when they begin kindergarten, and we were able to assess all students. We had 100% of points on that. ICAP is about individual career plans for students as they leave 8th grade to ensure that they have their planning ready for high school, and we had 75% of points on that. In order to get 100% of points, every 8th grader has to leave with an ICAP, and so making sure that even students who come in late May, that we get that developed for them, because even missing 1 or 2 students can cause you to drop down to that 75%. At attendance, we earned 75% of points, and that's measured on the percentage of students that are there 90% of the time. We also earned points for required documentation. That's completion of our audit, our annual Secretary of the Board report, and then timely submission of our core data, meaning all the data on our district that we report to the state that it's in when it is due. This slide looks at our individual school scores. I'm going to Sorry for the delay. Okay. As we look at our individual schools, you can see the percentage of points that was earned at each school. Our points range from 57% to 82%. Different buildings have different amounts of points possible. And we did identify some areas that needed additional work, and those would be those areas that are marked below average, which was really in the area of math at the secondary level that we had already identified that. And for the last slide, this slide, while not trying, is really looking at our comparison to our conference, the other districts in our conference, and we did perform very well as we look at how we performed in comparison with those districts that are similar to ours, and then also for our surrounding districts. They are our sending districts that send students to our Career Center to just see how students performed, and then because we know there are supports that we offer for students who come and attend at our Career Center. So that is MSIP 6 as compared to MSIP 5. Are there any additional questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Atkins. 2023-24 Certified and Classified Personnel Handbooks, first reading, Dr. Goforth.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following attached certified and classified employee handbooks are presented for your review as a first reading. The administration will request approval at the regular April Board of Education meeting.
23-24 Staffing Plan, first reading, Dr. Goforth.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following attached staffing plan is presented for your review as a first reading. Administration will request approval at the regular April Board of Education meeting.
Textbook proposals, Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight we have proposals for AP Chemistry textbooks and middle school health textbooks. The proposals are attached for review and will be brought as action items.
That would change Leaf Lane to Freedom Elementary School Zone.
Motion?
7-0 motion carries. Student discipline policies, Mrs. Long.
Good evening. I'd like to request approval of the following updated discipline policies, JGR1, JGR2, and JGR3.
Any comments or questions? Do I have a motion for approval?
Second.
All in favor, show of hands. 7-0, motion carries.
President, the district recently began organizing project graduation with plans to provide an evening of free celebration for our graduating seniors. Administration would like to seek approval for the contribution of the Board of Education in the amount of $4,000 to project graduation.
Any comments or questions? Do I have a motion approval? Quinn makes a motion, have a second? All in favor, show of hands. Motion carries. Job description, second reading, Dr. Goforth.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following attached proposed job descriptions are presented for your review as a second reading. 2.23.1 Computer Tech, 4.11.1 High School Principal Secretary Bookkeeper, 2.22.6 Assistant Computer Tech, and 4.12.6 Information Systems Specialist Computer Technician. The administration requests approval of the above job descriptions as presented.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
7-0, motion carries.
Mr. President, Administration Thank you, Mr. President. Administration seeks approval for district-sponsored health benefits, dental vision for the FY24 school year.
Any comments or questions? Do I have a motion? Mr. Quinn makes a motion. Do I have a second? Rouse second. All in favor, show of hands. Closed session, closed record, closed vote as allowed by RSMO 610.021, Section 1, legal action. Section 3, hiring, firing, discipline, or promotion of employees. Section 13, individual personnel records. Performance rating. Do I have a motion to enter closed?
Motion.
Rao makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Harn makes a second. Roll call vote. Mr. Harn? Yes.
Yes.
We're in closed.